Hi everyone, it's Tamara here with another card making tutorial. This week I'm showing you the image Oddball Rosie from Stamping Bella. This was a card I made for a card swap, so now my recipient's got it. I'll be uploading the video. So we'll do some Copic colouring of Rosie and then a very quick and easy card making tutorial. Let's get started. Now, as all the Stamping Bella stamps are all rubber backed, when I grab out my Misti, I'm just going to remove the black rubber mat insert that goes inside. Just set that aside. I've grabbed a piece of Copic XPress cardstock, which I'll be doing some Copic colouring on. And I'll grab out my Memento Tuxedo Black after attaching Rosie to the front of my Misti. Give that a good press down. I did miss part of her arm, so I'm going to double stamp that again, making sure I press on the right side. And now that's all stamped up, I'll just put on some music while I do the colouring. Now with the red accents that I've got in Rosie's bow, I'm going to actually use the Darkroom Door Small Dot Stencil and Candied Apple just to create a bit of interest on the back of my card front. So I've grabbed out my magnetic Make Art station and just to have a little bit of tape runner in the middle to attach my cardstock. Then just putting it around the very edges, I've popped my magnets down. And then using a blending brush, I'm just working the darker color in the middle, just fading out to light around the edges, just so that it just fades out into the whiteness of the cardstock. So now that's done, we'll just reveal that, make sure we're happy, and we'll set that aside to dry. I always cut out the panel that I'm going to be ink blending on a little bit bigger than what I need, and that way when you're using your die you can center it perfectly against your ink blending. I just find that makes sure you can get the right size. So I've now grabbed the next largest size up of my stitch rectangle dies and going to just cut out a red panel for the back of my ink blended panel. Now because the sentiment is also rubber backed, I'm taking out my black rubber mat again, popping in a piece of black cardstock and my sentiment, and grab out my anti-static powder tool just to prep my cardstock to make sure no powder goes where I don't want it. I've grabbed out my Versa Watermark ink and I'm just going to double stamp that to get a good impression. Then just grab my piece of folded white printer paper and my white heat embossing powder and just scoop that back in once I've got the right amount on my sentiment. I've preheated my heat tool and I always go to the back first to remove any loose particles that might be on your panel, and then make sure I heat that until it's nice and fully melted. I let it dry for a little while before I use my Swiffer to wipe off the excess powder. I've grabbed out a rectangle die just to cut out my sentiment, so I'm just lining that up, making sure it's centered on all sides, and I've run that through my die cutting machine. But I just wanted to make it a little bit smaller because it was taking up a little bit more room than what I wanted. So I'm just trimming off all the edges to make sure they're even on all sides, and it just reduces it down to the size that I want. Now I've pre-cut and scored a white card base, and I'm going to attach my red panel directly onto the front, and it just leaves a nice white border around each of the edges, so make sure that it's even on all four sides. Give it a good press down. Then we'll pop our ink blended dot panel on the top of that, again just lining it up to make sure we're even. And then we'll roughly place out where we're wanting to put our sentiment just to make sure that you can read it fully. So I'm just working out roughly where I want it using Rosie as a guide. Pop some glue on and we'll just get that attached and make sure that's lined up. I'll grab my T-ruler and just ensure that is straight before giving it a good press down. Now with Rosie, I just want to prop her up a little bit, so I've grabbed out some foam tape, just roughly placing it all around her. Pop a little bit on her arm and also on her hair. I'll take off the release paper off camera and just using my tweezers just to allow me a nice amount of room to get her placed, making sure she's lined up, just kind of partially sitting over that sentiment and lined up with her feet at the base. Now I just wanted to add a little bit of extra. It was just looking a little bit plain and I wanted to make sure your eye was drawn to Rosie. So I grabbed out some kind of electric blue cardstock from my stash to match in with her outfit. And I'm just kind of getting them strategically placed around her so it kind of draws your eye to Rosie. So once I've got them lined up where I want, I've just grabbed out my glue and we'll just get them attached to the front of our card. You could also pop these up with some foam tape, but I just thought it'd be nice just to add them straight onto the card itself and have Rosie the star being propped up. And this is the finished card project for this tutorial. I loved colouring Rosie up. She's just so fun to colour, and this card came together so quickly. Just using a bit of stenciling and some ink just to add a little bit of interest to the back of the cardstock really creates a great spot for your image to sit. I hope you've enjoyed this card making tutorial. If you have, please hit the like button, and if you'd like to see any future videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.